So this is a video about me being a dyspraxic video creator. So I'm going to go into my process of video creation. So if you're into video creation and you have dyspraxia, then this is the perfect fit. So let's explore this train of thought accordingly. So let's go straight into whiteboard animation, and here is an important point to make. All my videos consist elements of whiteboard animation. So here is an obvious question. Why use whiteboard animation? There are two reasons. Number one, it creates an additional layer to the visual experience. And finally, number two, it enhances the visual experience. And considering the channel is called Visual Knowledge, the visual dimension is extremely important. So the next part of my videos is multifaceted. Now it's multifaceted as I use 5 different strategies. So let's explore this in a visual context. Strategy 1. Here's an example of utilizing B-roll. And here's another example of utilizing B-roll. Strategy 2. Here's an example of utilizing AI images from the artist Basquiat to the philosopher Francis Bacon. Strategy 3. At the bottom you can see an example of yellow typography. Strategy 4. And here is an example of masking images. And here is another example of masking images. And finally, strategy 5. Here is an example of B-roll fused with AI images. So these are the 5 strategies that I use for my video creation. So now let's go to the video vlog. So moving forward, I think there's a very important question to ask. And that question is why? Why did I create Visual Knowledge? And I think we can answer this question initially in 3 phases. So phase 1, I created Visual Knowledge to increase the awareness on dyspraxia. And this is answering the simple question, what is dyspraxia? And creating content to enable greater understanding on dyspraxia. And phase 2, I wanted to create a compelling visual experience. And this was essential. Why? Why was it essential? It's essential because there is a link between neurodivergence and visual learning. And finally, phase 3, I wanted to create evergreen content. And basically I wanted to base this content around the philosophy and psychological context. And the reason why I wanted to create evergreen content was because I wanted to try and answer some deep philosophical questions. Now there are some additional purposes. So let's include the previous 3, but let's also add the following. So let's call it phase 4, bring awareness to neurodivergence. Phase 5, bring awareness to my social enterprise neuroexpression. Phase 6, help build a neurodivergent community. And finally, phase 7, encourage people to think as opposed to just telling them what to think. Now the YouTube process is quite simple and it can be broken down in the following phases. Phase 1, come up with a title. Phase 2, make a thumbnail. Phase 3, write a script. Phase 4, vocal the script. And finally phase 5, edit the video. You could also add additional phases to this by stating uploading the video, providing SEO, doing the descriptions, etc. Now this process can take many hours, and to do it well takes mastery. To me, mastery is when we do something exceptionally well. It's a great way to create value to the marketplace. And here's a question to ponder. Does mastery separate us from the AI machines? And if that premise is true, how important is mastery? So here's another important point of my video creation process as a dyspraxic creator. And let me try and break this down in phases. So phase 1, being a dyspraxic creator means I have dyspraxia. And phase 2, having dyspraxia can also mean that I have issues with organization. Now I know what you're thinking. What has issues with dyspraxia got to do with organization? Because isn't dyspraxia just a coordination issue? Well, dyspraxia has secondary issues, and one of those issues can be organization as well as other things. So as I have an issue in this area, I try to be as organized and planned as possible. So to counteract this organization issue, I have to have consistent habits, and this helps me to be accountable on my video creation process. So let's get back to animation. To me, video creation is about consistency. Of course, when you have dyspraxia, this can be a barrier, because dyspraxia can make things feel like a mountain, and mountains can be hard to climb. But I consider the following. I see my dyspraxia as a part of my creative tools. It adds another dimension to my uniqueness. It makes the creative process more creative, and it makes that creative puzzle more compelling. Now, if you would like to support the channel, you could do the following: like, subscribe, and share on your digital platforms. And if you want to use my video services, you could also do the following: email me directly on LinkedIn at my neuroexpression profile, or send me a direct email from my website contact page, and the link to that is in the description box. And finally, I want you to remember this: the main focus is not about money. The main focus is about providing social value.